Director and art director of Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess, Shuichi Kawata. And on your right would be Yoshiaki Hirabashi, the producer of this title.
So for people who know nothing about this game, give us a brief elevator pitch about what this game's all about.
Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess is a new IP from Capcom that merges the exhilarating action and strategy elements.
So what were some of the challenges when you guys were designing this game and making it fun and challenging for players to experience?
The most difficult aspect of this game was merging together the action and strategy elements and finding the right balance and adjusting it so that it felt the best fit. They feel that the difficulty of merging these two will allow the users to experience a new gaming experience with this game. This game allows the users to, if they are more action focused, they can focus the villagers to move on to the more support elements, or if the users like the more strategy elements of the game, they could work together with the villagers and have action as like a kind of like a support function to find the right balance of what they find, what's fun and interesting, and use action as like a support or the main act of defense.
Do you guys talk about inspirations you pulled from, either from genres or even other games that inspired you to design and make the game?
He received many inspirations. Shuichi Kawata received many inspirations from real-time strategy games and tower defense games, and there's not a specific one. He basically received a lot of inspiration from many of them. And also from the action perspective, since Capcom specializes in many action games, he used his experiences from Capcom's action titles and merged those two experiences together from the tower defense, RTS elements, and action elements of Capcom, and created into a new genre of action strategy and tower defense put together.
Can you guys talk about your cultural influences? A lot of Eastern culture, obviously, but what it seems to be, it's very vibrant, colorful, lots of different mismatches here. What were some of the inspirations you pulled from culturally from different people in the world?
Since this is a game from Capcom, we wanted to make it a global game, and it's specifically showing the Japanese culture of the game, so that when it was delivered to users all over the world, they would get a glimpse of what some of the specific Japanese cultures are that Japanese people may be already familiar with, but it may be new to the pan-Western global audiences. So we pulled a lot of inspiration from the Japanese culture to this game.
You guys have a beautiful color palette in your game. I know that's intentional, it's not an accident. What made you want to fill the game with so many bright, vibrant colors? Like, I love seeing bright colors in games. Like Dark Souls doesn't have bright colors, right? It's a very gritty game, but this is so beautiful. Like, what drew inspiration to put so many different colors and palettes in your game?
The color schemes are based on the Japanese Edo era, where such as ukiyo-e and Japanese woodcut prints. So the color schemes are originally based on those, but we also took a modern take on it to make it more realistic, to implement it into the game to really match the aesthetics.
Do you or any members of your team, I saw miniatures, sorry, in the behind the scenes, a lot of miniature work. Do you guys play tabletop games, build models like in your spare time as well, or is that just something you did specifically for this game?
Yes, I do like a lot of tabletop games, especially if like miniatures are implemented in games. He tends to go see them on the weekends and stuff like that. And he thought that it would be an interesting idea to have those miniatures implemented into the game. So that's why he incorporated the miniatures and 3D scanned them, put them into the game.
What games did you play growing up that inspired you on this path to game development?
It's not really like a game, but ever from his experiences, he was really interested in the Japanese culture and the technology. He really took a liking to it. He would go watch kabukis, bunrakus, which are traditional Japanese puppetries. Japanese culture was always close to him, and it really inspired him on the visual aesthetics and what he wanted to visualize. So that might have been one of the roots that led to where we are right now.
For somebody who isn't in game development and knows nothing about it, what's the biggest misunderstanding about your jobs and responsibilities as a producer on a video game?
He feels that having a physical experience is really important. hence card games or even going to watch anything. He finds it interesting because you're physically interacting with it, especially and it builds onto the building experiences, or whether it's like an activity that you go outside and experience. And he's constantly thinking of ways to implement those experiences and put it into the game.
And my last question is a very easy one: when does your game come out, and what platforms will it be out at launch?
Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess is planned for release on July 19th, 2024 on the platforms Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Steam, and PC.
That's super interesting. Was it difficult porting the game to older generation consoles like the PS4? Was that a challenge for your team?
They did face many difficulties because this game was originally meant to be developed for Xbox Series X and S, and also the PlayStation 5. But in order to make it available on all the platforms, they had to adjust the technical issues, such as like the resolutions, and those were the aspects that they found a little bit challenging. But in the end, they were able to implement.